ॐ ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखावतांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश कुपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai. Where we left, let's see. Yes, we left to chapter 2, text 42 and 43. Okay, Haribol. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschitaha vedavadarata partha nanyadastiti vadinaha कामात्मना स्वर्गपरा जन्म कर्म फलप्रदं क्रिया विशेष बहुलां भोगैश्वर्य गतिं प्रति yam imam. All these pushpitam, flowery, vacham, words, pradavanti, say, avipaschitaha, man with a poor fund of knowledge, Vedavadarataha, supposed followers of the Vedas, Partha, O son of Pritha, na, never, Anyat, anything else, asti, there is, iti, this, vadinaha, advocates, kama atmanaha, desirous of sense gratification, svargaparaha, aiming to achieve heavenly planets, janma karma phala pradam, resulting in fruitive action, good birth, etc. Kriya Vishesha, pompous ceremonies, Bahulam, various Boga, sense enjoyment, Aishvarya, opulence, Gatim, progress, Prati, towards. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Purport. People in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kanda portions of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than sense gratification proposals for enjoying life in heaven, where wine and women are available and material opulence is very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially the Jyotishtoma sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices, and men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the results of such attractions, similarly, an unenlightened man are attracted by such heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof. In the Karmakanda section of the Vedas, it is said that those who perform the 4 monthly penances become eligible to drink the Somarasa beverages to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have Somarasa to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratifications. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual, and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called Nandanakanana, in which there is good opportunity for association with angelic beautiful women and having a profound supply of somarasa wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, there are those who are purely attached to material temporary happiness as lords of the material world. Hare Krishna. Okay, who wants to be next one?
Hare Krishna. भोगैश्वरे प्रसक्तानां तप्तायापहतचेतसां व्यवसायित्विका बुद्धि समाधो न विद्यते. भोगा material enjoyment, aishwarya opulence, prasaktanam so attached, taya by such a things, apaharta chetasam bewildered in mind, vaivasaitmika fixed determination, buddhi devotional service of the Lord, samadho in the controlled mind, na never vidyate does take place. Translation: in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, he resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Purport. Samadhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti says Samayogadhyayate Siminid Atmatve Yathatmayam. When the mind is fixed, for understanding the self, it is called samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for person interested in material sense enjoyment, nor for those who are bewildered by such a temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. त्रैगुण्या विषया वेद निस्त्रैगुण्या भवार्जुन निद्वन्द्वो नित्यस्तत्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्. Gunya pertaining to the three modes of material nature. Visharya, one on the subject matter. Vedaha, Vedic literature. Nistrugunaha, in a pure state of spiritual existence. Bhava, the Arjuna. O Arjuna. Nirvandaha, Nirvandavaha, very free from the pains of opposite. Nitya Sattvastha, ever remaining in the Sattva, goodness. Nirogya, Shemaha, free from the thought of acquisition and preservation. Atmavan, established in the self. Translation: the Vedas mainly deal the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above three modes of Arjuna. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities, from all anxiety, from gain and safety, and be established in the self. Purport. All the material activities involve action and reaction in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive result, which cause bond age in the material world. The Vedas deal mostly with the fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy, where in the beginning there is a Brahma Jigyasa or question on the supreme transcendence. All the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard of existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom, advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. When the activities for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of the Upanishad, which are part of different Vedas, as the Bhagavad Gita is a part of the fifth Vedas. namely the Mahabharata. The Upanishad mark the beginning of transcendental life. As long as the material body exists, there is action and reaction in material modes. One has to learn tolerant in the face of dualities such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth, and by tolerating such dualities, become free from anxiety regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the God will of Krishna, good will of Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, who wants to be next one?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandatam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Number of blessings is always Shri Prabhupada. Can I read?
Yes, Prabhu.
यौवन अर्थ उदपानी सर्वथा संप्लुतोदके त्वन् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्रह्मण्यस्य विजनन्तः. Yavan, all that Artha is meant, Udhapani, in a well of water, Sarvatha, in all respects, Sampaluta, Udake, in a great reservoir of water, Twana, Twan, Tuva, Tawan. Okay. Similarly, Sarveshu, in all, Vedeshu, Vedic literature, Brahmanasya, or of the man who knows the supreme Brahman, Vijanantha, of one who is in complete knowledge. Translation from Missy Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada. All purpose that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoirs of water. Similarly, all the purpose of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Purport. Purport, the rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karmakanda divisions of the Vedic literature are to encourage gradual development of self-realization. Self-realization. And the purpose of self-realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 15.15. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to know Lord Krishna, the primeval cause of everything. So, self-realization means understanding Krishna and one's eternal relationship with Him. The relationship of the living entities with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are parts and partial of the Krishna. Therefore, revival of the Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of the Vedic knowledge. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7 as follows: Aho bhata swapakho grahiyan ajivagre vartate nama tumbhyam tapasते जुहुवा सस्नुर आर्या ब्रह्मनुचुर नाम ग्रहंति ये ते. Okay. Oh my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that Chandala or the dog eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literature many times. After taking his birth in all the holy places of pilgrimage, such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached. Without being attached to where is the okay where it is being attached to the rituals only and must not decide to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for a better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the Vedantas and the Upanishads. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purpose of the Veda. This is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of Vedic cultural culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of the all fallen souls. Excuse me for 1 minute. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar, Prakashananda Saraswati, the Lord was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist instead of studying Vedanta philosophy. The Lord replied that his spiritual master found him to be a great fool, and thus he asked him to chant the holy name of the Lord Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna, and the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Anyone who devotee can continue.
Haribol, who wants to be next?
Hare Krishna, Sami Prabhu, Dandavot Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhu.
Karmani evaधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भु मा ते संगोस्तव अकर्मणि. Karmani, prescribed duties, eva, certainly, odhikar, right, they of you, ma, never, palesu, in the fruits, kadajana, at any time, ma, never, karma, fall, in the result of the work, hetu, cause, bhu, become, ma, never, they of you, sangha, attachment, has to be there, akormani, in not doing. Translation. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself to be the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Purport. There are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. Prescribed duties refer to activities performed while one is in the modes of material nature. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority, and inaction means not performing one's prescribed duty. Okay. Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority. The Lord advised that Arjun not be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed duty without being attached to the result. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of the action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of such action. As far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Routine work in terms of the scriptural injunctions is done without desire for results. As one has to do it, obligatory work is action in the mood of goodness. Work with results become the cause of bondage, therefore such work is not auspicious. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to the result. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna. Can I continue one more to or someone?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, very well. যোগস্থা কুরু কর্মাণি সঙ্গম ত্যক্ত্বা ধনঞ্জয় সিদ্ধ অসিদ্ধ সম ভূত্বা সমত্তম যোগ উচ্যতে. Yogastha, steadfast in yoga. Kuru, perform. Karmani, your duty. Sangam, attachment. Tyaktavha, having abandoned. Dhananjaya, O Dhananjaya. Siddhi, asiddhi, in success and failure. Samo, the same. Bhutva, having become. Samattam, evenness of mind. Yoga, yoga. Uchyate is called. Translation. Be steadfast in yoga, O Arjuna. Perform your duty and abandon all attachment to success or failure. Such evenness of mind is called yoga. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga. And this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness only can one give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of the Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, and as such, he is participating in the Varnashram Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varnashram Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. No one should satisfy himself as in the ruler in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfies Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principle of Varnashram Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. Hare Krishna. Anyone can continue. Dandavata.
Hare Krishna, Prahlad Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद, प्रणाम, जय प्रभुपाद। और कोई short of you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhupada Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Dandavata
Prabhuji.
Pranam. Jai Srila
Hare Krishna
Prabhupada.
Prabhu,
Please accept
Pranam,
my
Jai Srila
humble
Prabhupada.
obeisance.
जय प्रभुपाद, हरि बोल। Yeah, can carry on, no problem.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu. Who wants to
Okay,
read
very good.
next text?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद, प्रणाम, जय प्रभुपाद।
बोल
Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna
Hare
Prabhupada,
Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
जय प्रभु जय कंटिन्यू
Vivek Prabhu, are you continuing?
Oh Prabhu,
Vajahari Prabhu, you can also continue.
Okay, Prabhu, I'm continuing.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna. Text 49. दूरेन है अवेरम कर्म बुद्धि योगाद धनंजय बुद्धौ शरणम अव अन्विच्छ कृपा कर्पणा फल हेत्वा durena by discarding it at a long distance he certainly avaram abo- abominable karma activities buddhi yogat on the strength of the krishna consciousness buddhi yogat on the strength of krishna consciousness dhananjaya o conqueror of the wealth buddha in such consciousness charnam full surrender anvicha desire kripana the the measures phala hetva those desiring fruitive actions translation o dhananjaya rid yourself of all fruitive activity by devotional service and surrender fully to that consciousness. Those who want to enjoy the fruit of their work are measures purport by his divine grace. Prabhupada. One who has actually come to understand one's constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord, give up all engagement save working in Krishna consciousness. As already explained, Buddhi Yoga means a transcendental loving service to the Lord. Such devotional service is the right course of the action for the living entity. Only measures desire to enjoy the fruit of their own work just to be further entangled in the material bondage. Except for the work in the Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable measure. They continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. One should therefore never desire to be cause of work. Everything should be done in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the Krishna. Majors do not know how to utilize the asset of riches which they acquire by good fortune or by hard labor. One should spend all energies working in Krishna consciousness, and that will make one's life successful. Like the majors, unfortunate person do not employ their human energy in the service of the Lord. Text 50. बुद्धियुक्तो जहा बुद्धियुक्तो जहातिहा सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद् योगाय युजस्व योग कर्मसु कौशलम buddhi-yukta, one who is engaged in the devotional service, jahati, can get rid of iha in this life, ubhe in both, sukrata duskrate in good and bad result, tasmad therefore, yogaya for the sake of the devotional service, yujasva be so engaged, yoga Krishna consciousness, karma so in all activities, Kaushalam art, translation. A man engaged in devotional service rid himself of both good and bad action even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, O Arjuna, which is the art of all work. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Since time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Sri Krishna in all respect, and become liberated from the chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of a resultant action.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare
Okay, then
Krishna.
can Sujay Prabhu or Mohit Prabhu or Aero Prabhu read the next one?
Sure, Prabhu. I can
Yes, Prabhu.
I can take Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Text number 51. Karmajam buddhi yukta ye phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti anamayam. Karmajam, because of fruitive activities, buddhi yuktaha, being done in devotional service, is certainly phalam results, tyaktva, giving up, mani Shinaha, devotees were great sages, Janma Bandha, the bondage of birth and death, Vinir Muktaha, liberated souls, Padam, position, Gachanti, reach, Ana Mayam, without miseries. Translation: the wise engaged in devotional service take refuge in the Lord and free themselves from the cycle of birth and death by renouncing the fruits of action in the material world. In this way, they can attain that state beyond all miseries. Purport: the liberated living entities seek that place where there are no material miseries. The Bhagavatam says, Samashitaye padapallava plavam mahatpadam punya yasho murarehe bhavambudir vats padam param padam vipadam atesham. Bhagavatam 10.14.58. For one who has accepted the abode of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and is famous as Mukunda or the giver of Mukti, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a cow's hoof print. Parampadam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikunta, is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where there are dangers at every step. Out of ignorance, only less intelligent persons try to adjust to the situation by fruitive activities, thinking that resultant actions will make them happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within the universe can give life without miseries. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and diseases, are present everywhere within the material world. But one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord, and thus known the position of the personality of Godhead, engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter into the Vaikuntha planets where there is neither material miserable life nor the influence of time and death. To know one's constitutional position means to know all the sublime position of the Lord. One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood to be in darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. He becomes a Lord himself and thus paves the way for the repetition of birth and death. But one who, understanding that his position is to serve, transfers himself to the service of the Lord, at once become eligible for Vaikuntha Loka. Service for the cause of Lord is called Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, or in plain words, devotional service to the Lord. Text number 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गान्तसि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च यदा when they your moha illusory kalilam dense forest buddhi transcendental service with intelligence vyatitarishyati surpasses tada at that time Gantasi, you should go. Nirvedam, Kaloisnes, Shrotavyasa, Shrotavyasya, all that is to be heard. Shrutasya, all that is already heard. Cha also. Translation: when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport: there are many good examples in the lives of great devotees of the Lord and those who become indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of routine activities, even though an experienced Brahmin. Sri Madhavendra Puri, a great devotee and acharya in the line of devotees, says, Sandhya Vandana Bhadramasto Bhavato Bohu Snana Tubhyam Namo Bo Devaha Pitarash Chatarpana Vidaham Naham Shamah Shamyatam Yata Kwapi Nishatya Yavada Kulotsamasya Kamsadvishaha Smaram Smaram Agam Arami Tad Alam Manyakim Anyame. O Lord, in my prayers, 3 times a day, all glories to you. Bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefather, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he is no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda Brahma or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads. Text number 53. श्रुति प्रतिपन्न ते यदा स्थानयति निश्चला समाधौ आचल बुद्धि तदा योगम अवाप्स्यसि. Shruti, Vedic revelation, vipratipanna, without being influenced by the fruitive results of the Vedas, te, your, yada, when, stasyati, remains, nischala, unmoved, samadho, in transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness, achala, unflinching, buddhihi, intelligence, tada, at the time, yogam, self-realization, avapsyasi, you will achieve. Translation: when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas and when it remains fixed in the trance of self realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Purport: to say that one is in Samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one is full in Samadhi as realized Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The highest perfection of self realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna and that one's only business is to discharge one's duty in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruity activities for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communication with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in the transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Text 54. Arjuna Uvacha Sita Pragnasya Ka Bhasha Samadhista Stasya Keshava Stita Dihi Kim Prabhasheta Kim Ashita Prajeta Kim Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Sthita Pragnasya of one who is situated in fixed Krishna consciousness, ka what? Bhasha language, Samadhi Stasya of one situated in trance, Keshava or Krishna, Sita Dihi one fixed in Krishna consciousness, Kim what? Pravasheta speak, Kim au, Ashita Ashita thus remain. Vrajeta walk him out. Translation Arjuna said, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? Purport as there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation. Similarly, one who is Krishna conscious as his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man, as is symptoms by which he is known as rich man, as a diseased man, as is symptoms by which he is known as diseased, or as a learned man, as is symptoms. So, a man in transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness as specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks, for speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak, and certainly a well dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks, but as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow, as stated below. Text 55. श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मनि एवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Prajahati gives up, Yada when Kaman desires for sense gratification, Sarvan of all varieties, Partha, O son of Prita, Manaha Gatan of mental concoction, Atmani in the pure state of the soul, Eva certainly, Atmana by the purified mind, Tushtaha satisfied, Sthita Pragnaha transcendentally situated. Tada at that time Uchate is said. Translation the Blessed Lord said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Purport the Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Lord, has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendentally situated has no good qualifications, because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concoctions. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kinds of sense desire manufactured by mental concoction. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous efforts. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation, for this devotional service will instantly help one on to the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Let's see how many verses are there in this chapter. Is it over 70? I didn't remember its second chapter is so long. Okay, we cannot read all the verses now, so let's read a few more. Who wants to read next?
Hi, Prabhu. I can read now.
Yes, Prabhu. 1 second, let's find.
दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्न मनः सुखेषु विगतस्परः वितग्रह भय क्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते दुःखेषु in the threefold miseries अनुद्विग्न manha, without being agitated in mind, sukeshu in happiness, vigata sparaha, without being too interested, vitha free from, ragha attached, bhaya fear, krodha angry, chitta dhihe, one who is steady, munehe sage, vichite is called translation, one who is now distributed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not uh, elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, free and fear and angry, is called a sage of steady mind. Purpose from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The word muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every muni has a different angle of vision, and unless a muni differs from other munis, he cannot be called a muni in the strict sense of the term. Nasu munir yasya matham na bhinam, but a stitha dhimuni sita Dhimuni has mentioned herein by the Lord. He is different from an ordinary Muni. The Stam Dhimuni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. He has suppressed the stage of mental speculation and has come to the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. He is called a Muni, fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all distributed by the onslaught of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of thinking in Krishna. Thinking in himself one only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds, and he sees that his miseries, but by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due to only to the Lord's grace that he is he that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Appreciation. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment because his life is directed in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry even when his attempts are unsuccessful. The Krishna consciousness person is always steady in his determination. Text 57. Can I continue, Guru?
Yes, Prabhu. Go.
यह सर्वत्र न धीसेन तत्तत् प्रया भुःशुभं न भिनद्धति न द्वेष्टि तस्य पर्जन प्रतिष्ठा. Okay. Yeah, one who sarvatra, everywhere, abhisenaha, without affection, that prakriya, achieving subha, good, asubha, evil, never, abhiyantanti, prayers, never, vesti, enemies, tasya, his prajna, perfect knowledge, Partistita, fixed translation, he who is without attachment, who does not rejoin when he obtains good, nor amend when he obtains evil. He is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Report from Messi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There is always some upheaval in the material world which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as when he is in the material world, there is always in the possibility of good and evil because this world is full of duality. But one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil because he is simply concerned with Krishna, who is all good, absolute. Such consciousness is consciousness in Krishna situates one in a perfect transcendental position called technically samadhi.
Haribol, thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, now let's read.
Thank you so much.
चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावादुजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मास्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्.
नाम्ना मकारि बहुधो निज सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन काला एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवान् ममापि दुर्दैवं विदृशं हैज्येनि अनुग्रहा.
गुणादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानेन मान्देन कीर्तनीये सदा हरि.
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां न जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतोद्भुक्तिर् अहेतुकी त्वयि. .
Ajinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Ma Vishame Bhava Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pangaja Titaduli Sat Sambhijintaya.
Nayanam Galadasrudaraya Vadanam Gadgadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Apu Kada Tavanam Grahane Bhavishyati.
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रविश्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दवरेण मे
आलिश्यवपदा रतं पिनस्तु माम् अदर्शनमर्म हतं कर्तुवा यथा तथा वा विदहतु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथ तु स एव नाप्तः कृपो. Translation. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana moment is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are and always unsure.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all senses of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Ananda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
Oh Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering the moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like tolerance of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handle me roughly by his embrace of make me broken hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.
Haribo, Sri Siksastakam ki jai,
Haribo,
Harinam Kirtan ki
Jai,
jai, Jadva ki jai,
Jai,
ki jai,
Jai,
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Jai,
Mahaprabhu ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila
Jai,
Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura
Jai,
Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.
Jai,
Hare
Haribo.
Bol.